So welcome back, friends, to a beautiful Thursday morning on the homestead. So I was recently watching a re-recorded live stream from Owen Benjamin, and he had titled it something about, I don't remember what the title was, but the gist of it was saying goodbye to an old friend. And what he was talking about was alcohol. And I'll tell you what, it really resonated with me, and I want to share my personal story and how that live broadcast has affected me. Um, well, let's just jump into it. So he's talking about. I'm not going to tell his story. You can go watch his story. I'll tell my story. So my relationship with alcohol, I guess, probably started when I was 18 or so. Of course, how it all goes. The shoulder tapping at the convenience store when you're 18 or so, and there's always a way, right? If you want to find it, you're always going to find it. And I remember going with my friends, and we'd go and grab like a half case of whatever it was, Coors Light, whatever was in vogue at the time, drive to some place down by the river, and it was a real, I mean, I guess kind of, I think for young boys it was maybe a passage of right, or a passage into manhood, or what we thought was, because isn't that what we're told, right? That's what a man does. It comes back after a hard day's work and cracks a beer and all of that. And of course, through life, and alcohol in this country, I think in many places it's a very social thing. And up to the very day, we're still, when I'm 50 years old, and it's always been a huge part of my life. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that alcohol, if you were to ask me, I wouldn't say that alcohol for me is a problem. Physically, for example, I don't think about it all the time, and I definitely don't think about it when I wake up in the morning and I go through my work and do my normal things. However, in the evening, there's nothing more that I enjoy more than sitting down out on the porch with my wife and having a glass of wine. Unfortunately, a glass of wine oftentimes turns into a bottle or even a bottle and a half, and has been known to turn into two bottles at times, right? And then, of course, that also carries through into eating out. You go out to Mexican food, and then it's one margarita and it's two margaritas. And then, of course, living in the Pacific Northwest, the beer culture is such a tremendous thing, and it's so good. And there's just nothing better than going down to my favorite brew pub or pizza parlor with my family and having a local beer, which sometimes turns into two and to three. And it's very socially accepted. Everyone's doing it. It's the centerpiece of local hoedowns, or when we have our friends invite us over. I mean, we were just recently at a party, and of course there was a keg there, and it's very much the centerpiece of all of these social gatherings. Why is a whole nother video, right? So to get back to Owen, so what Owen was saying is that I'm starting to realize that this is starting to become a problem. Not in the way that it's becoming a raging drunk or getting violent and getting into fights or thrown into jail. I got these bugs jumping on our lens here. But in that it's forcing him to make bad decisions, and that's what really kicked me in the head, and I started thinking about it. Because here's the truth of the matter: is that something that seems really innocuous and not a big deal, and sitting on the porch and having one, two, three beers turns into making bad decisions. For me, usually in eating. What typically happens is you'll go do a hard day's work and it's hot, and nothing better, nothing nicer than coming back and cracking open your favorite beer. But what that leads to is making poor choices with eating. I know that if we go to our favorite restaurant and I have a couple beers or a couple glasses of wine, the first thing that I do on the way home is to pull into the grocery store and go buy ice cream, and go buy cookies, or go buy things that I don't normally crave or don't normally eat. And then it just spirals from there. It ends up in usually a sleepless night, or not able to sleep very well, and waking up you know, maybe slightly hungover, too tired, where I'm not really functioning. I'm not really, don't have a lot of patience with my family, my wife, and it's this cycle that goes over and over again. And you always tell yourself, you know, after you have, you know, maybe one too many at the local brew pub and you wake up with a splitting headache and you can't really do a whole lot of work, you're not very effective. Oh, never again, right? But then how quick do we forget that the next time we're down there, even that very night? Um, so, yeah, I thought it really resonated with me. And so what Owen said was that he was going to test himself with this. And he was going to find out, do I have a drinking problem? And what he resolved to do is to not to drink through the summer. Uh, and I listened to that and I thought, well, you know, I don't have a drinking problem, and you know, that doesn't really plead or doesn't really, it's not really applicable to me. But the more that I thought about it, and when I stopped lying to myself, and I really took a hard look at myself, I found myself in the exact same situation. And so I decided that 7 days ago to do that same thing. And so I haven't had any alcohol for 7 days, not a drop. Uh, and it's been hard. It's been harder than I like to admit. Yesterday was a perfect example. So Mrs. W's been gone, and I haven't been to town, so I haven't really had that temptation going to our favorite restaurants and such that I would have. But we decided we'd load up the sweet loaf, and Jack can take her down to the park and go to our favorite pizza place. And as I was driving down there yesterday, man, I was really conflicted. I was having a real internal struggle back and forth whether or not I should even, if I had the willpower to even go to this place without ordering a beer. It was genuine, and it was really really hard. And I was starting to think maybe we shouldn't even go there. And if you can't go to your favorite pizza place or your favorite restaurant without having 2, 3 beers, maybe that is cause for concern. So so we went. I decided, well, we'll just go. I'll just order a Coke or something like that. And I was extremely tempted. It was, the waiter came there, and I was wavering back and forth. You know, I'm looking around, and everyone's enjoying, you know, these great beers and all of that. And I decided not to do it. And what helped me, what gave me the strength, 100%, I wouldn't have been able to resist it had it not been for knowing that Owen was going through. There was another man going through the same thing, that had resolved not to do it. And I drew strength from that, and I was able to resist. And once I had resolved and I made that decision not to do it, the temptation went away. But it wasn't over, right? So we went to the meal, and it was great because afterwards, I didn't have to, you know, I didn't have to worry about the fogginess and I was able to take my daughter to the park, and we played together, and I was conscious, I was there, I was present, and that would not have been the case in the past. Well, it didn't stop there. So on the way home, we had to stop and grab some groceries and different things on the way home. And as I walked by, as I have so many hundreds of times before, the beer cooler, and there, sitting in there, of course, is my favorite brand in the 6-pack of cans. And I looked at it, and I walked up there, and I opened the door, and I put my hands on it, and I lifted it out of the cooler section, and I sat there and I looked at it, and I wanted to put that in the cart so bad. I wanted that so bad, to be able to go home after that good meal and sit on the porch and crack my favorite beer. And then again, I thought about it. I thought, I'm not doing this alone. There's another guy that's doing this, and he's, you know, it's strange to say that I don't even know him. I've never spoken with him, but I didn't want to let him down. I didn't want him to be going through the struggle alone without me doing it himself. You know, such a strange thing, but you know, the Bible talks about this in the Old Testament. Iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. It's been a favorite quote of mine in the channel for years. And it's a funny thing how this guy who just came online and made a video and was 100% honest and candid, and just laid it out there, was an inspiration to me and gave me the strength to make the right decision. And I put that back, and I came home, and now I'm on day 8 without touching it. So what am I going to do? Well, what Owen said, and I think I got to give him credit for it, it's his idea, is that if I can't resist alcohol through the summer, through all the social events, through all of the circumstances I find myself in, then that tells me that have a problem. If I can't go 3 or 4 months without resisting this, then I probably can't have it at all, to use his words. And I think that that is so true. I really find myself in the same boat. And so why? I guess, I'm 50 years old and I have not learned my lesson. From the time I've been 18, this has been something that has been um, always with me. I've had a great time. I love nothing more than sitting and having a glass of wine with my wife. I love nothing more than having I mean, you know it. We all know it. It's a wonderful thing. Social events, to sit around with the people that you love and friends, and to enjoy that together is a wonderful thing. And I'm not going to say that alcohol is inherently bad. The excessive use of it, of course, we've all seen that. And anyone who would ask, if you want to have any questions about that, and I can personally attest to this as a first responder, if you were to ask what percentage of domestic disputes and problems and issues that you run to with the police calls and medical are alcohol related, and I could probably say almost 100%, 99%, almost all of them. Are a direct result for that. So I'm not going to say it's inherently evil, but the excessive use of it is. And I don't I don't look down on anyone who wants to use it if they can use it responsibly. But if you find yourself in a situation like me, where it just continues to be a problem and you're going 20, 30, 40 years and you haven't learned your lesson, maybe we need to take a hard look at it, and maybe we need to make some changes in our life. I think the thing that gives me the most motivation is my 18-month-old daughter. I'm 50 years old with an 18-month-old daughter. That means when she's 20, I'm going to be 70 years old. And by the time when she's that age, it's most likely, chances are that she'll be, maybe she'll be getting married, maybe she'll be having a family. Do I want to be there to experience that? Do I want to be there to be able to offer assistance and help for her to get started in life and her new husband? How sad would it be if I'm 70 years old and because I haven't treated myself well, I haven't taken care of my body, that I'm unable to go there and to be assistance? Well, and if I take that one step further, what if it comes to the point where I become a burden on my family because of my poor choices and my selfishness with not living a healthy and clean life? I look to my grandfather. He was up into his 70s and 80s, and he was still super active. He was still able to come out and to help. And my grandparents, I remember when they were old, and my dad and I had built this retail store, and we were kind of down to the wire on it, and they came out and they helped clean, and they helped all that stuff. Man, what a blessing that was. And my grandfather, he really had no vices, and he was able to maintain that vitality because of that. So it's not just about the alcohol. For me, as Owen said, it's about the alcohol makes bad decisions. How hard is it on a guy if you don't sleep all night and you have to get up and work? We're told over and over again that the lack of sleep and not getting enough sleep is what's really killing us, and it's what's driving a lot of guys into an early grave. So if nothing else, for me, that motivation, not outside of just, being a fellow traveler with Owen, is I want to be there, and I want to be an asset to my family, and I want to be able to help my daughter and to guide her, and not destroy myself and destroy my health, and it, it it's just not worth it. As much as I love it, and as much as I'll miss it, and again, I relate to him. It makes me sad to think about this. It makes me really, really sad to be able to think that I can't enjoy a couple beers on our 4th of July picnics. That I this summer, that I won't be sitting outside at our favorite restaurant enjoying a glass of wine with my wife. But that's the thing that I have to do. I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm just saying that for me, that's what I have to do, because I don't have it in me. I guess I don't have the strength to resist. And if I'll be lying to myself to say that anything's going to change, because why would it change? It hasn't changed up to this point. So I want to put this video out there because yesterday, when I was really struggling, when I was finding myself in a position of weakness, I drew strength from the video that Owen put up, and I want to put this up. If you can relate to this and you can struggle with this, I want you to know that when you got your hands on your favorite beer in the cooler, that I will be home and I won't be drinking and I won't be picking that up either. Where is it going to go from there? What happens at the end of the summer? Well, I think what's typically the case is when you when you finally kind of cut something out of your life for long enough, it kind of loses its appeal. And with the strength of prayer and with the strength of you know, our Creator, you know, God tells us He knows what we have need of before we ask, and I draw great encouragement from that. Will I ever drink again? I don't know. We'll see, but I won't be drinking this summer. And I want to put this video out there and have some public accountability. So I'm not going to impose this upon anyone. If my wife wants to have a glass of wine with her meal, I'm not going to be judging at all. It's not her thing. But I think, because I know her so well and we are of the same mind, that she will probably adopt the same, well, the same. I guess she should probably resolve to go alcohol free as well as I do. So, yeah, that's it. I don't know what else to say, but hang in there. Excited to hear your comments, and I invite you to participate in this. I don't think we need to pick a date, but we'll talk about it in the fall. We'll see how it goes, and we'll talk about how the struggle went and if there was a struggle at all, or maybe after 3 or 4 weeks it kind of passes and it's just something that just falls off and that we don't have to worry about anymore. But yeah, that's the truth of the matter. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the thumbs up if you enjoy these videos. Invite you to be a member. You can go to the homepage, click on the membership, and we always appreciate that. And I'll see you guys in the next video.